Point guard Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets are reportedly at an impasse in discussions toward working on a contract extension. Now, the drama continues to build in Brooklyn as Irving has until June 29th to pick up or decline his $36.9 million player option for next season. New York Post Brooklyn Nets reporter Brian Lewis has reported that both sides are still working to find a happy medium here. And Brian, he joins me now. Brian, good to see you. A lot of the news that has come out around Irving makes it seem like he possibly could be pressuring the Nets into giving him the bag with the long-term contract. So how do you see this playing out? Do the Nets call Kyrie's bluff and see if he will become a free agent, or do they give him the bag here?
Well, it doesn't seem like Kyrie's trying to pressure them. He's undoubtedly trying to pressure them. I'd hesitate to say bluff because him leaving $30 million on the table is not impossible, considering he flushed about $17 million down the toilet to avoid getting vaccinated. So one never knows, and money is not the end-all be-all for Kyrie. But what I'd say is this. I don't think this is a situation where it's going to be easy for him to get what he wants.
Interesting to see if they can get there, Brian. But the doomsday scenario for Nets fans here is that Kyrie leaves and Kevin Durant also wants out. Now, KD has said he's staying out of the Kyrie Irving contract talks, but do you see him staying with the Nets if Kyrie bounces?
ESPN reported that KD has not told the Nets that he's intent on leaving if Kyrie goes. I do believe if Kyrie is gone, the question is, what's coming back the other way? In other words, if it's a trade, who's coming back? Is it, if he goes to Miami, is it like Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and a pick? If it's LA, it's a trade to the Lakers. It's a 3-team trade. Is something coming back from OKC? I think these are the questions that Kevin Durant has in his head, and those are the questions that are going to have to be answered before any decision is made on his part.
A lot of big decisions there. Now, when it comes to these discussions, Brian, between Kyrie and the Nets, big question here is who actually has the leverage in this situation?
Well, I don't think either of them have good leverage. I would say Kyrie probably has worse leverage than Nets, because Kyrie's entire leverage basically is on KD. The threat or the hammer that KD could leave if Kyrie does. Because it doesn't make any sense, at least to me, now I'm trying to put logic in this, it doesn't make any sense to me where you're going to be offended because, say, the Nets are trying to put protections in there that may cost you $6 million or so, or trying to not guarantee the final year of a deal or what have you, that you would get angry and flush $30 million. But right now, these 6 teams that he has put on his prospective wish list of places where he'd like to be traded, none of those teams can offer him more than $6 million. And frankly, from what we understand, not all of those teams are interested in him. So I would say right now, the Nets have better leverage, which is why you see so much coming out about Kyrie. If you look, generally speaking, if you have leverage, you don't have to talk or you don't have to negotiate, right? At least publicly. So I think it's pretty clear that right now the Nets have better leverage. That doesn't mean that Kyrie won't end up getting what he wants, but if I had to pick, I would say Kyrie's leverage is a little less than the Nets' leverage at this point.
It is going to be very interesting, Brian, to see how this all unfolds. All eyes will be on Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets as we approach that June 29th deadline. That is Brooklyn Nets beat reporter for the New York Post, Brian Lewis. Brian, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.